Good
Okay.
evening to all the participants joined in our webcast, which we have already held in several times. But this webcast is very important. Whenever you are talking about the speaking from your core of your heart, we have with us today's resource person, CA Hardik Shah, who is very experienced chartered accountant. Whenever we are talking about the skills, speaking skills, presentation skills all together. And if we speak about that one is particularly on the various aspects of the speaking from your various think tank and all these things all together. He is very important whenever we are talking about the speaking skills. With this introduction, I welcome to CA Hardik Shah to this today's webcast, and I am handing over this session to CA Hardik Shah for further proceeding. Over to CA Hardik Shah.
Thank you, Sambat sir. A very, very good evening to everyone present in this room. Like Sambat sir said, today is going to be a very interesting session on terms of basics of communication and public speaking. Now, some of us are very confident when we speak in front of an audience, in front of people. Sometimes some of us are introverts, some are shy. Some of us do not understand how to articulate our thoughts and conversations. And some of us have this issue that we have a lot of thoughts in our mind, but we are not sure whether we should speak about it, we should not speak about it. So today we're going to do something very interesting. We are going to do some very, very basics of communication and public speaking. Okay. Now you wonder in terms of why do we need communication for chartered accountants? We'll get there in a short while from now. But first of all, all it's a very interesting part of and now what I do is we'll break down the separate parts. I have a small presentation to give. Sorry, I think there is some disturbance, but we can ignore that. And that's part of communication, right? At times we have some hindrances and we still learn to move on from that.
Hello.
All right, so getting back to the fact that hello.
So directly we can start with session. Hello.
Let's back to my journey, right? I qualified as a chartered accountant in November 2011. I secured an audit rank in my CA. I was a rank holder at my CA and as I was working with Ernst and Young at that point in time. Now, Ernst and Young expect to be articulate, good at your communications, that they check that during interviews. So my confidence levels was always pretty high for that matter. But the fact is, during one of the assignments, I was working with a client and I was working with my manager at that point in time. So what happened is that my immediate reporting senior was missing. And we had to make a presentation, a pitch to an income tax officer on why to allow to Now, the manager had one idea that we should present this case clause to the income tax officer. Oh, is it? Just give me 1 second. Can you hear me? Okay. Just I'll have a look at this. Can you check my video is better now? Audio is good. And video? Is it lagging? Oh, yes, I'm on my hotspot actually because there is an electricity cut over here. Okay. Okay. Is this better? Am I clearly audible? Perfect. All right. Sure. I'm hoping the electricity comes back soon. Going forward, unfortunately, the irony is that we're talking about communication and I cannot see most of you. And now for a while, you will not
Sir,
be able to see me as well.
sir, if the presentation is not there, you have to come up with your video only.
I have a presentation. I have a presentation, so don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. So, coming back to my story at Ernst and Young, I was having an discussion with my manager, and she asked me that Hardik, I'm not understanding your point. Can you be more clear about why do you believe this case law will not work? And while in my head, I knew the response to it. I wasn't very sure whether it will work, and how do I communicate and articulate it to my manager to prove and tell her without sounding very arrogant that I know this, but you do not know this. So what I did, I went back to my desk and I typed the response on email and sent it to her. After that, my manager called me and she said that Hardik, I agree with your point of view, but why did you not tell me when we spoke earlier? And that's when I realized that I will have to improve my communication skills because what got me here will not take me to the next step. So this is exactly the point of this session over here, that we'll learn about what's in store for all of us. I have a small presentation for all of you to have a look at it, and we'll take it forward from there. All right. I'm hoping the presentation is visible to all of us. All right. Now, as chartered accountants, we are very strong with our knowledge levels, our technical and analytical skills. But why do we need a session like this? Because when you compare ourselves to a lot of other, the typical comparison to MBA finances is that we are not able to communicate a lot of things at right time, not able to present it right. And this will help you bridge the gap a little. All right. Uh, Soft skills is not something that you develop through an examination or you develop something overnight. It requires regular practice and enhancement for all of us on a regular basis. It could be through multiple ways in which we do it. Just like some of us hit the gym regularly to build those muscles or hit the swimming pool to learn swimming. Similarly, communication skills and public speaking can be developed, can be enhanced and improved with regular speaking as well. All right. Now, in today's session, over the next 1.5 odd hour, what we're going to do is to have a very watered down, very simplistic presentation because we have a large audience over here. So people will be here from different backgrounds, different languages, different demographics. Keeping in mind that we have to address a very large audience with different capabilities, it is easier for us to manage this when I keep it very simplistic and watered down approach over here. Okay. How many of you believe that public speaking is something that you can learn and develop by birth, or something is a skill that you acquire on the go? Think about it and possibly can put that in the chat. I'm not sure the chat is open over here, but think about it. That is public speakers natural by birth, or is it a skill that people acquire by learning, by practicing over here? So for me, I have always been confident about my speaking skills to go on stage, interact with individuals. But the art of articulation, being confident, being able to speak when there's limited words in a limited period of time is something I've built up and learned in the last 10 to 15 years. Right. So there are skills and nuances about being regularly. All right. So moving to the next slide. What not to expect. All right. Making the expectations very clear. At the end of this 1.5 hour, you will not become an expert public speaker. All right. You will learn nuances, you'll learn the basics, you'll know the do's and don'ts. It's for you to practice and implement this in your regular conversations and see the improvement maybe over a few weeks or few months. It will not magical. There's no magic potion. There is no secret sauce that you will change overnight in a day's time or something. So you'll have to practice and prepare over a period of time for this. It's not one size fits all, and it is nothing is wrong. All right. All of us have different styles of communication. Some are authoritative, some are autocratic, some are democratic, some are very talkative, some talk less, some nod more. These are all different styles of communication. None of them is wrong. It's all about getting better than what we currently are. All right. So if I had to ask you one question, if you want to think about it, take 30 seconds to think about it. What does communication mean? All right. Take a few more seconds. Think what, according to you, is communication. Is communication about wanting everyone to listen to me? Is communication about putting my word out there in the big world? Or is communication listening, understanding, and talking in a mechanism which is understood by the opposite person? I'll repeat. Do you believe communication is something that what I speak should be understood by the other person? Or is it a monologue where I keep speaking, the other person is disinterested, not taking away anything from the conversation? All right. So there are monologues and there is communication. If I speak and it makes no sense to the opposite person, it is not a communication. It is a monologue where I'm putting my word out without creating any impact or improvement in the life of the other person. We'll get to more in terms of how this works, but not to expect that you will become an expert speaker right now. All right. So, what do we expect in today's session? This is a brief overview of today's session. We learn about how to identify your audience, how to build your content, what are the delivery mechanism, the non-verbal communication aspect, what's in it for me. WIIFM stands for what's in it for me. Why should chartered accountants like you and me enhance our communication skills? And last, quick hacks on communication. We'll do 2 quick hacks based on time, but this is a quick overview. But before we deep dive into all of that, a quick look at the foundations of communication. Preparation, practice, presentation, and performance. Right now, when I'm doing this session for all of you, it's stage 4. That's performance. I did my preparation, I did my homework, I made my notes, I made the presentation, put together, fine-tuned it, got different videos, articles all ready. That's my preparation. Then I rehearse the entire thing. That's my practice. Presentation, again, putting all of that together. And right now, what I'm doing with all of you is my performance. You will assess me in terms of how well am I able to meet your expectations in this session. Right? So that's a quick foundation. The 4 P's: preparation, practice, presentation, and performance. The most important and critical part of communication is knowing your audience. KYA. I know we are very famous with the KYCs of know your customer, but in this case, the most important part we are learning is KYA. That's know your audience. Your communication style, your tone, your pitch, your language, your content, everything is defined by your audience. If you do not know your audience, you're not sure what you're doing. Now, you'll ask me a very simple question, right? What's know your audience? Come on, quick. While I'm not able to gather responses because this is the one-way communication, unfortunately, in a webinar, but I'm going to give you some pillar thoughts for you to articulate themselves. Take 30 seconds and think about how will you identify your audience and what are the basic parameters or checklist while checking on your audience. Quick, 30 seconds. You may want to write it down, note them down, whatever you want to do. Take a quick 30 seconds. All right, so I'm back. So know your audience. KYA, not your KYC, it's your KYA. That's know your audience. The simple hack, all right, for the simplest form, of course, is the person you're interacting with. Is it a personal one-on-one interaction? Is it a group discussion, maybe 1 to 4 or 5 individuals? Or a public speaking where you're one to many individuals, right? In all three scenarios, knowing the other person is extremely critical. Now, a few weeks back, my mother got very excited and interested of learning about stocks. So I helped her download the application and trade in a few stocks. So first she asked me that why is there the same stock on BSE and NSE? Then she asked me why is the stock price changing every second? What is buyers? What are sellers? Where are these people? So I realized that understanding or knowledge level of the opposite person is very critical in your know your audience. Who is the other person? What are the skill sets? What is their background? Helps you understand your communication better. For instance, if I'm talking to chartered accountants like all of you and I talk about Reliance shares, HDFC shares listed on BSE, NSE, the price is up 5%, there are more buyers today, less sellers today, or it's hit the upper circuit, all of you will be able to relate to it very, very quickly because you're all finance professionals. I'm a finance professional. We are at the same level of our finance understanding. But when I do that with my mother, our understanding of finances is very minuscule. So I had to start from ground up in explaining to them. And this could be a lot of engineers or doctors who may not understand finances, stock investments, mutual fund investments with ease. If you see a lot of advertisements, they just talk about invest in mutual funds, but nobody answers what are mutual funds, how do they operate, right? You and me are very good at it, but a lot of these individuals around us may not be good at it. So you'll have to go down to that level and explain to them what are mutual funds, what a stock market is. That's a very simple example to give over you. So what is this then you ask? Very simple. 5Ws H. I'll repeat. 5Ws and 1H is the checklist for communication. Now, what are these 5Ws and 1H? Whom are you interacting with? What are you interacting about? When? The time, the duration. Where are you interacting? What is the surrounding demographics? Why? What is the purpose of that conversation? And how? Is it online, on phone call, video call, in person? All right. Recapping that, everyone, the 5Ws and 1H. Who?
Ankitji, your audio is off.
Now it's fine. I'm audible.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, very sorry. This is an unfortunate electricity cut over here. So I'm on my hotspot, but all right. So that's again the basics of know your audience, the 5Ws and 1H. I'm repeating again. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. All right. So knowing the demographics, knowing the background, understanding the need of the conversation. All right. The purpose this is not to put some conversation with someone should take back and learn something from that conversation. It should not be like, you do not know this much also, let me explain that to you. That is not the purpose of conversation. You're doing a knowledge transfer. What you know, you're able to articulate and communicate them to them in a manner that they understand it, grasp it, and use it somewhere in the future. Right? So let's take an example of personal interaction. It could be an interview at an office. Either you're conducting an interview or giving an interview. Now there are two rounds. There is an HR round and there is a partner round. In the HR round, the interview will normally revolve around your personality, your historical experiences, your basic knowledge levels. But what are your personality traits? But the same interview with a partner of an organization will be more technical. They'll want to understand your viewpoints on different standpoints. Let's say income tax, audit, GST. Do you realize the same personal interaction with two individuals for an interview could be with different purposes? One, the HR round is your personal personality traits. Two, your technical round with a partner, understanding your technical knowledge. So you have to prepare your communication and conversation differently for both the scenarios. Let's also look at other interaction where you're representing a client in front of a government office. Over there, your purpose is to explain to the government officer why the income tax return filed by you is accurate and why should they take your submission as presented, right? So the purpose changes, the conversation changes, the person changes. Your style of conversation and communication also has to adapt and evolve with that. Let's say you're pitching for a potential advisory services. In case of group discussions, you are in a room of the board of directors, or you're part of the marketing team, the advisory team, or the CXO offices. That is 1 to 4 or 5 people where they're trying to understand why they should hire your services, let's say advisory services, consulting services, and why you're the right fit for the organization. That's group discussion. Public speaking, you are basically an expert at some topic where you're able to influence an audience and large about a particular topic. For instance, over here, I'm trying to influence all of you to understand that communication is very important in our learning, our journey as accountants. At the end of this, even if just one of you get influenced and improve your communication skills, efforts towards it, my purpose might be served. Right? So that is where public speaking comes in. So personal interaction is one-on-one. Group discussion is 1 to 5 or 6 individuals. For example, a pitch to a client. Public speaking is one-to-many, where you're trying to influence a larger audience about some particular aspect. Are we clear? All right, I'll give you a quick 60 seconds to figure out and make your notes, make a mental maths of all of this before we move on to the next slide. Know your audience. If you remember, 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, how. Breaks down to personal interactions, group discussions, and public speaking. We'll take a quick 60 seconds halt over here so that you can take this presentation down, the notes down, and we move on to the next slide. All right. Moving to the next slide. Is the content of your message. All right. It's crafting your message, the content, the purpose, and what not to do. All right. Before I get started, there's a quick video I want to show all of you.
Aditi, neither you are audible, not visible.
Am I not audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just playing this video. 1 second.
What? All you all think smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking? Yet if I pulled a Snicker bar, nobody will say anything. Do you know that the leading cause of lung cancer is not actually a cigarette? It's your DNA. You could smoke for years and nothing will ever happen to you. This whole war against smoking is just to restrict the farming of tobacco. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I use these arguments, even though I just made them up, if you are
Did you see what he actually did right now? Through his words, through his content, he tried to influence your opinion about smoking. Of course, he faked a lot of information about it, but that is what content can do, right? That you're able to influence an audience about your conversation, about information, just by choosing the right set of words, by presenting the right set of information. Okay, so that is the power of words. That's the power of content. That's the power of communication. Now, going over here back to content, if you look at the first point in content is opening, body, and closing. If you all realized when we started this presentation today, I started with my personal journey of why I felt the need of communication by sharing my story with my manager. It's a hook for us to understand that, okay, Hardik had this problem, and this is how he went about solving it, and how communication has helped Hardik be able to present in front of this huge audience here today. It's a hook. Different conversations can have different hooks. So your opening should not always be, hi everyone, good morning, this is Hardik Shah. Today we'll talk about communication. Done there, bored to death, right? So you want to have something more exciting and energetic at the start. So that's when you start with a story or a quote. It could be an anti-quote. The choice is yours. You look at your audience. Once you know your audience, you're able to decide your opening content over it. Then the body is the main meat of it. If you want to keep the audience engaged for a long period of time, you need to have consistently important information which is relevant to them. For instance, if you see, I have very quick slides which has only pointers available to you, and I'm switching to every slide in a span of 5 to 10 minutes. If I keep the slide over here for 30 minutes and I keep talking and blabbering about it, you will get bored. If I talk only for 60 seconds, you will have no takeaway and you lose interest. The right time management is linked to the content of it. Your opening, body, your closing is the CTA, call to action. What do I want the audience to take away from this conversation? Do I want you to become better public speakers? Definitely yes. Do I want you to start practicing public speaking? Definitely yes. Do I want you all to learn why communication is important for chartered accountants? Yes. So that's the purpose, and that will be my call to action at the end of this communication. All right, that's the basis of content, your opening, body, conclusion. Coming to the purpose. Why am I communicating with you? Remember, you already know your audience. Fine, that's it. Part 1 done. Part 2 is why. Is it generic? Am I here to inform, to inspire, to entertain, or to persuade all of you? I'm here to inspire and persuade you to spend some time over building your soft skills. All right, that's the generic purpose of this. Do I have a specific purpose over here? What's my specific call to action? For instance, when you are pitching to a potential client, your specific call to action is asking them to sign you up as their advisor or chartered accountant. In an interview, your call to action is wanting them to hire you. In this, I don't have a specific purpose because I have a large audience and every audience member may have a different purpose attached to it. All right. You will normally have specific purpose in smaller crowds of 1-to-1 or 1-to-few. Let's say you are a mutual fund advisor. You want the client to invest in a particular mutual fund. Your specific purpose is to persuade them to invest in the mutual fund or the stock market. You want to invest in a real estate. You want to advise them on capital gains or taxation. These are specific purposes when you have communications with individuals. All right. And the last and the most important part, do not use jargons. Saying fancy English words does not make you a better communicator. Do not use long, repetitive sentences. All right. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep the other person interested and hooked in your conversations. Do not ramble. All right. Do not beat around the bush. The person will catch you and lose interest. There's a very old saying that you can fool some people for some time. You can fool one person all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. So do not ramble. If you're not sure, let it pass. But you need to know your time management in terms of when to end a conversation. I'll show you quick 2 videos and 2 examples to make this point more clear to all of you.
Instead, the easiest way to capture an audience's attention is to ask them a question on something they emotionally connect with. People don't care about the rise of AI. We care about the impact that it will have on our lives. So you can start your speech like this instead. Healthcare is one of the most erratic professions out there. But what if I told you that we could halve our time spent in the hospital while more than doubling our output? Let's talk about the rise of AI in healthcare. If you start your speech like that, you'll be much more likely to engage your audience throughout the entire presentation. Try it out the next time, and if you like such communication tips, follow us for more. If you want to open a speech like a TED speaker, you need to know about this. Let's say, for example, your speech topic is the rise of artificial intelligence in healthcare. Now, don't start your speech by just saying, "Hi everyone, the topic I'm going to be speaking about is the rise of AI in healthcare." Instead, the easiest way to capture an audience's attention is to ask them a question on something they emotionally connect with.
So if you saw that, what he did out there is that the opening has been changed to something that the audience relates to. And that's very critical in terms of communication. Now let's look at the fact where someone is using jargons and rambling across, and you don't have to be a Shashi Tharoor for this.
Madam President, and gentlemen, ladies of the House, standing here with 8 minutes in my hands and at this venerable and rather magnificent institution, I was going to assure you that I belong to the Henry VIII School of Public Speaking, that as Henry VIII said to his wives, "I shall not keep you long." But now finding myself But now finding myself the seventh speaker out of eight in what must already seem a rather long evening to you, I rather feel like Henry VIII's last wife. I more or less know what's expected of me, but I'm not sure how to do it any differently. Perhaps what I should do is really try and pay attention to the arguments that were advanced by the opposition today. We had, for example, Sir Richard Ottaway suggesting, challenging the very idea that it could be argued.
Now, some of us will be very excited about the fact that, wow, such fancy English words this person has used in the communication, and you might be in awe of that individual. But does this serve the purpose to most of us? Most of our audience members will have to use Google or a dictionary to use those words, understand those words, right? Do not make it difficult for your audience to interpret what you're saying. Even when you're explaining financial,
that the economic situation of the colonies was actually worsened by the experience of British colonialism. Well, I stand to offer you the Indian example, Sir Richard. India's share of the world economy when Britain arrived on its shore.
sorry, now I think it's better. Yeah. All right. So the whole purpose is to not use fancy English words to explain your concepts. Simplify it. All right. Remember in the last slide, what we saw, know your audience. Once you know your audience, you will be able to do this way better in terms of how you want to do this. All right. Next. All right. So we'll quickly recap both the slides that we saw right now. The first slide was know your audience. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Next, your personal interaction, group discussion, and public speaking. Your next slide is crafting your message, your opening, your content, opening, body, closing is important. Purpose of the communication, generic. Is it to inform, to inspire, to entertain, or to persuade? Specific call to action. You want to be hired, you want to convince the client to hire you, you want the income tax officer to accept your submissions. The specific purpose of your communication. And the last, the most important part of any content is to not use jargons, to not use long sentences. Make it easier for the person to understand what you're trying to communicate. What is the purpose of it? Why do you communicate? Language or whatever language you're speaking in. Do not try and show off that you're a master of English. That's not the purpose of communication. The purpose of communication over here is not to be a Shashi Tharoor, but be yourself, which people can easily relate to. We'll pause here for 60 seconds before we move to the next slide. Okay. Now, what you saw over here is about verbal communication. Remember, words have power. But do you know, in most communications, non-verbal communication picks up a lot more than what you actually speak. And that brings us to the next part. That is your delivery techniques, your body language, your voice modulation, your additional aids that you use in terms of communication. Now, body language has three large sections. Your eye contact. Am I looking at you in the eye? Am I looking? When you, as a boss, when you interact with an employee who has made a mistake, that person will normally look down. If you're a parent, when you're scolding a child, the child will look down. That eye contact is guilt. If I'm confident, I will look at you in the eye and converse with you. If I'm looking around, I'm distracted or I'm not interested. If I'm looking down, I'm underconfident or guilty. So be careful when you interact with an individual, eye contact. Now, some of you will ask me that if it is an audience of 100 people, how do I have eye contact? Very, very good question. And here's a very simple, powerful tool for that. If there is a large audience, of 100 people, look at people in patches. All right. You don't have to look at every one of the 100 individually. There are patches. If you look at someone in the left, at least 15, 20 of them will believe you're talking to them. If you look at the far back, at least the entire last row will assume you're talking to them, right? So that's how eye contact works. Hand gestures are extremely critical in terms of body language. The most underconfident thing to do is put your hands in your pocket. Keep your hands out, keep moving them, interacting with them. When you're making a point, put your hand up. When you're interacting, let the hands move freely, link to your conversation. Do not overdo it. Do not underdo it. Last stage movement. Now, since this is a Zoom meeting, unfortunately, my video is off. I have to be visible in my camera setup. You should be able to view me continuously in your camera, in your screen, right? That's the stage movement on a Zoom screen. But let's say I'm doing this offline. If I have a stage, make use of the stage. Generally, use the center, but we're making important points. Move to the left, move to the right, move to the back. Make use of the stage, but make informed decisions. Do not pace around the stage. Like, do not keep going from left to right and right to left. All right. Keep it very limited and focused and move in a very informed manner. It is okay not to move. It is not okay to constantly keep moving, because then the person has to look at you like it's a tennis match. They don't want to be distracted by your movements. They need to be distracted with the purpose of your movement, right? The next part is voice modulation. Do you realize after every slide, I'm giving you a 60-second pause? I'm letting you reflect on the thoughts of what I just spoke about. Make your mental notes or written notes. And that also gives me time to prepare for the next slide. Pauses are powerful. Using the pause at the right time can grab attention of the individual, bring them at pace with where you are. If I keep speaking constantly and I do not give you a chance to think about it, you'll possibly lose interest because you're not making sense of what I just spoke. That's pace. Do not speak at 200 words a minute. Pause. Speak at a pace which others interact with, understand where you are. All right? Pitch and power go hand in hand. If I have to make a very, very strong point, then I'll raise my volume. And if I have to make an emotional angle to it, I will lower the volume at which I speak, because I'm just trying to grab your attention. For instance, when I talk about the recent incident at Ahmedabad, I will slow down, I will pause, I will lower my pace, because I'm trying to be emotional, being empathetic to the individuals out there. But if I'm in a room full of confident people trying to make a very solid point on why we should go ahead and acquire the new organization, and these are the 3 reasons to do it, you increase your pitch. Your pitch, your pauses, your pace are extremely critical to grab the attention of towards it. Last is an add-on tip. It's a free hack to use audio visuals. Like you see, I'm using visuals and videos to explain different concepts. I'm using a presentation to make my point. All right. And you can use a prop possibly. These are aiding my conversation. Let's assume with bad network, my video is off. You're just listening to me on audio for 2 hours. You will be bored. You will log out in 15 minutes max. But these presentations, these audios, these visual cues are helping me keep you engaged for a longer duration. So use very carefully in terms of how you want to do this. All right, so we'll break here another 60 seconds. Make notes of these pointers, your body language, eye contact, hand gestures, and stage movement. If you look below, you're underconfident. You look in the eye, you're having a very strong communication. If you look left, right, center, not interacting with the individual, you're disinterested. Hand gestures, hands in pocket, hands in back is guilty, underconfident. Natural hand movements make you look confident on stage and interactions and make different points. Stage movement, if it's on Zoom, stay within the camera frame. If it's out on actual physical offline environment, limit your stage movement to make a point. Do not keep pacing around. It is distracting to the audience members. Voice modulation, pause, pitch, power, and the pace which I speak, if it's making you understand or not, is very important. Additional aids, your audiovisual cues, using videos to explain and make points, using a presentation like this adds to your delivering aids, and it creates a better impact to visual because people remember what they see more than what they hear. Quick 60 seconds, and then we'll recap the last two slides before moving to the next slide. All right, time for a quick recap. Know your audience, who, what, when, where, why, and how. One-to-one, one-to-few, one-to-many, that all define the purpose and the kind of communication you're going to have with people. This is the basic of communication. Do not start anything without this. Crafting your message, the content, the crux of what you do. Remember, words have power. Your opening has to be amazing. Do not start with your typical good morning. Start with a purpose. What is the takeaway? Your body, the meat of your communication, and a call to action as you're closing. Purpose could be generic: to inform, to inspire, to entertain, to persuade. Specific: what do you want the end user to do? Do not try and be Sashi Tharoor. Do not use jargons. Do not use too many idioms, phrases, and long sentences. Keep it simple, keep it convenient, keep it easy for people to understand so that they don't have to run to Google or dictionary to understand what you're saying.
This meeting is being recorded.
Next is the most important part of any conversation is the non-verbal communication. Your body language, your voice modulation, your additional tips. Your eye contact, your hand gestures, your stage movement. Looking down, your hands on back, hands in pocket. Looking around is underconfident, distractive. Look the person in the eye, look the audience in the eye. Make intentional hand gestures, make intentional stage movement, and do not go outside the frame. Voice modulation, Pause, pitch, power, pace, the 4 Ps. Pause, pitch, power, pace is important. How you speak is very important. If you speak at the same thing in different pace or different power can sound empathetic, supportive, or egoistic. So be very careful. Like if I say that you do not know this, it's being egoistic. I think you're not understanding what I'm trying to say. Let's try this differently. I'm empathizing and supporting you in understanding the pace of you. All right. So how you speak is very essential in your communication. And additional tips, your audiovisuals and presentations add to the engagement value. Not a must-have, but a good to have. Now, handling questions, right? How do you handle questions from different individuals? But before let's do I'll quickly show you one more way into that.
The brand new iPhone. Did any of my words change there? And what changed? Pauses. Did we notice the silence? What did that silence do? It creates what? Tension and anticipation. You want to know what's happening next. So one of the things that you can do to create an aura of confidence is be comfortable with silence. Imagine I'm Tim Cook and I'm announcing the next iPhone. I just want you to tell me how much excitement I'm building in the way I'm presenting it, okay? Today I'm really excited to announce the brand new iPhone.
Too fast, to the point, like it didn't build up.
Yes, yes. Now be honest, for those of you who get nervous during a speech, ever sped through the entire thing and you don't even know what you said? So here, when I announced the iPhone, did I build any anticipation for the product at all? It's like I'm getting paid by the hour. Okay, guys, I gotta go back home, right? Let me try this one more time and tell me if it sounds any different, okay? Today, I'm really excited to announce the brand new iPhone.
Did you see what happened there? The same conversation in different styles can have a different impact on the individuals. And that is the power of non-verbal communication. That's the power of your voice. Use it effectively to make a difference for people. All right, so let's move to the next slide. Handling questions. When people ask questions, be prepared. Be over-prepared. Do your homework really, really well before you get started on any conversations or making a pitch. You're not a know-it-all. So do not expect to all questions asked, but pre-prepare to be extremely, extremely strong in terms of where you are, how you are. Do your homework and come. So if today people in the audience will ask me questions on conversations on communication, give me examples, I should be able to guide them without being arrogant about my knowledge. So be prepared. Active listening. When someone is asking questions, oh, I understood, don't cut them off. Let them complete the question. Let them narrate their problem statement. Let them narrate their point of view. Listen to it. Take a few seconds, pause, and then respond. Respond post listening, not for the heck of just answering the question. There's a huge difference in the two of them. And that's why the last point, clear and concise response. If you do not have an answer to the question, or if you do not agree, say that maybe you have a good point. I did not think of it that way. I'm not sure. Let me check and get back to you. Do not, and I'll repeat, do not ever enter into an argument or a debate. It is not about one-upmanship. It's about communication and putting your perspective. disagree without being disrespectful. So be prepared, active listening, listen to respond, listen to your question, be kind, do not shoo them off, and respond in a very clear, crisp manner. If you're not sure of the answer, don't confuse the individual. Tell them that maybe you're right, you will think about it, you will get back, let's take it offline. You're not sure, you'll check and get back at a different point in time. You can deflect questions very empathetically without trying to sound rude or arrogant. But I'll repeat, do not get into an argument with an individual. All right, take another second to look at these points before we move on to All right, we'll take a quick 2 minutes break. Like I mentioned, I have network issues. I'm just switching to a different laptop right now, since there's no battery in my laptop. Give me 2 minutes. I'll just switch that, and that will be a quick 2 minutes break for all of you as well to reflect on what we saw in the last 1 hour.
Can someone confirm I'm audible? Oh, sorry. Is it better now? I asked the P. Sambit sir. Hello. Can someone confirm I'm audible now? Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm so sorry for this inconvenience. Unfortunately, there has been a electricity cut at my location. So while we fix that, the show must go on. So we will proceed with the communication part. All right. So quick recap of what we did in the last 1 hour. It's been an interesting 1 hour. First is know your audience: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Is it one to one? Is it one to few or one to many? Next is crafting your message, your content, your opening. Words have power, your body, your closing. Purpose: to inform, to inspire, to entertain, to persuade. Specific call to action: you want to get hired for the job, you want to persuade the client to hire your services, you want to convince the income tax officer to agree and on your submissions. Do not use jargons, do not use long sentences, do not try and be Shashi Tharoor. Engaging delivery techniques, your body language, your eye contact. Your eye contact, your hand gestures, your stage movement, your voice modulation, your pause, pitch, power, and pace, your additional aids, audio visuals, PPT, and prop. Handling questions, be prepared, over prepare for conversations, active listening, listen to respond, do not just respond for the heck of it, and clear and concise responses. Do not beat around the bush, do not get into arguments and debates with individuals. Now, this is a very important part on what's in it for me. All right. And if you're able to answer that, that is the whole purpose of this pitch over here. Am I right? So I have broken them down into four common uses for chartered accountants. The first is interview. Let's say you're a fresh chartered accountant, you're applying to jobs at different organizations. Preparing for interview, if you know the audience, you know the organization better, you'll be better prepared to answer the questions that come at interviews. You'll be more confident, you'll be able to do the right hand gestures, you will walk in on time, you'll be able to maintain eye contact with the interviewer and answer questions with confidence. And even if you do not know the answers, you'll be able to handle the situation better. Sometimes interviews can be stressful, and this is very helpful for you. Second, the most commonly used things is for client meetings and pitches. If I have to pitch a consulting advisory services or why I should be hired for the merger, demerger, whatever services you're pitching to clients, be confident. And these basics will help you prepare better for your client meetings and pitches in that case. Next is in terms of representation. Let's say representing a client or a community, or you're a speaker at a conference. Let's say you have been invited to talk about TDS or taxes on cryptos or US taxation. All of those pointers are very critical in terms of explaining and understanding over here. And that is why communication is very critical to what we do. Next is brand building or making your individual presence. Now, I understand that as chartered accountants, we are not allowed to advertise ourselves. But, am I allowed to be a thought leader? Let's say I post on Instagram, let's say I post on LinkedIn regularly. That makes me a thought leader. And that's where communication plays a very critical and essential role. I will explain to you in a few more examples that your communication styles will change depending on whom you're communicating and when. Let me give you a few instances from my own personal journey to explain this better to all of you. So let's get back. So once you know your purpose, once you know your audience, then you can start looking at everything else. And these information can help you prepare better for your interviews, for client meetings, for your pitches, for your representation, or your conference speaker or brand building. different interactions, different individuals need to change your communication style. And that's very critical in how you manage that. All right, so I'll give you another 60 seconds to quickly look at this slide. Remember, think of instances where you had to use this before we move on to the next slide. Is my video better or is it still lagging? I asked. It's better. All right. I'll try and keep my video on for a while now. I hope this works better. Yeah. Yeah, please do that. Thank you so much. All right, let's quickly recap again what we just saw. Your foundations, your preparation, your practice, then your presentation. What you see right now is the performance. Know your audience, your interactions one to few, one to many. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. The 5 W's and 1 H. Never forget that. This has to be the basic essentials of starting any communication journey. Crafting your message, your opening has to be energetic and dynamic. Do not start with the boring, hi everyone, good morning, I'm Hardik, today we're going to speak about communication. Nope, don't do that. Keep it energetic. Start with a quote, start with a personal story, personal anecdote. Get the audience's hook and attention and what they will learn from you, why they should listen to you. Build your credibility and credentials on day 0. Once you do that, the audience will want to learn from you. Your purpose, generic or specific. Do not try and be a Sashi Tharoor. Engaging delivery techniques, your eye contact. Since now I'm visible as well. You look at me, see I'm looking at the camera more often. I am within the frame. If I move out and talk, you will not enjoy this conversation. You will be distracted in terms of that. Your hand movements have to be limited. Do not put them in the pocket. You can use this as a tool. In communication, you move your hands as you speak effectively. Do not put them behind. It sounds bossy and arrogant. Looking down sounds underconfident and guilty. Look the person in the eye, come to the camera, come closer, move farther away. It makes communication more effective when you do that. Visual aids, your pauses, pitch, power plays, and visual aids, your audio visuals in the presentations help a lot more over here. Handling questions, be prepared, be over prepared, do your research, do your homework. You should be the subject matter expert. You may not know it all. There can be googly questions. Answer them very calmly. Maybe you didn't think about it. Maybe you'll get back to them. Let's take it offline. Handle it in a very confident, calm manner. Remember, you are on stage. You are in charge of the conversations, of leading the conversation. Do not leave it to the audience. All right. Handling a crowd is a skill. Build it by commanding officer on stage. Do not succumb to pressure. Clear and concise response. Respond effectively after listening accurately. And do not get in an argument with people. What's in for me? Your interviews, your client meetings, your pitches, your representation, your brand building, your content creation. Right. So while you take 60 seconds to quickly summarize of so much of information that we've got in last 1 hour 15 minutes, we'll take a 60 seconds thought break. Okay, and I'm back. Let's move to the next slide. Communication. What are the 4 pillars of communication? Listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. These are the 4 fundamental pillars of any communication conversation that you have, right? Communication is all about conversations, about making your point understood by the other person. Remember, circling back to where we started from, if I communicate in a monologue, unfortunately, what we do over here right now is a monologue where I'm speaking, but I'm not able to gauge your responses. But let's say it in a better environment, I'm able to gauge your responses. So I'm able to articulate and change my narrative basis the opposite person's or audience's reaction. That's very critical to communication. So listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. That is important in terms of how we do. I'll give you one or two quick tips on how to handle this. One, let's say you're thrown a rapid random question in a random environment. How do you handle that? One trick is called prep. PREP, prep. Point, reason, example, point. Let's say I recommend strongly that today, while the markets are falling, we should invest in mutual funds. Because historically, over the last 30 years, Indian stock markets have seen 10 dips every 3 years of 10 to 20% during times of uncertainties, post which the markets have recovered twice as much. For example, in 2020, when COVID happened, the markets dipped by 40%, post which Nifty recently touched 26,000 high. And hence, I recommend that we should continue our SIPs and continue investing in stock markets or mutual funds. Did you see what I did? My point was continue investing in the stock market. My reason is of the historical example of last 10, 15, 30 years. I give an example of COVID, which is very recent and relatable to everyone. And I summarize my point of investing in stock market. So prep. What's the point you're trying to make? The reason, rational of logic of making that point. What's the example which is relatable to the audience members? And then summarizing my point towards that. That's the trick. Prep, point, reason, example, point. Next trick is PPF. Past, present, and future. Our parents used to invest in fixed deposits because historically inflation rates were 1 to 3%. Today, the inflation rate is 6 to 7%, so we need to invest in alternate funds and not just fixed deposits. That's the present. In future, we expect that fixed deposit income will be below the inflation and we'll be actually losing money by investing in fixed deposit. The past was fixed deposit gave us good returns, they were safe bets. Today, we see that inflation and fixed deposit returns are very similar. In future, I expect inflation to bypass the returns on fixed deposits. Past, present, future. All right, PPF. So, summarizing these 2 points again for all of us, the first example of handling a situation where you're unprepared is prep, point, reason, example, point. Second is PPF, past, present, future. All right, take a quick 30, 40 seconds to recap what we just studied, what we just learned before we move to the next slide. All right, now members in the audience, this is your time to shine, to think about it. All right, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you one topic, a random topic I'm throwing to you. Take 30 seconds, 60 seconds, think about it, and then take 60 seconds more to prepare your response. Mentally write it down, whatever works for you. All right, so are you ready for this question? All right, your question number one, to practice what you just saw. All right. Let's not make this a theoretical session. Let's practice what we learned. Your question is, if you're a chartered accountant and someone asks you which regime is better for income tax, old or new? I'll repeat. You're a chartered accountant and an individual is asking you which regime is better, old or new? You can use PrEP or use PPF. Think about it, close your eyes, and gather your responses for it. All right, did you all think of what could be a response? Why old regime? Why new regime? Ask questions. What is the salary levels? What are the incomes? What are the deductions? What are the exemptions they're expecting? What are the investments that they make? And then respond to them. All right. So let's say you recommend the new regime. Your point is you're recommending the new regime. Why? Because you're not making any investments in any of the deductions, exemptions. And so if you do not invest, your tax liability in old regime is 50,000, in new regime is 10,000. And hence I recommend you to use the new regime. That's the PrEP. Point, reason, example, point. Why are you recommending the new regime? Because you will save more taxes by citing an example with actual numbers and case series that you're not in making any investment in any of the deductions available to individuals. Clear? Hope that makes sense to all of you. All right, let's move on to something more interesting in communication. Some common reasons why we are scared of what we do. All right, so words of caution. Some of us will have stage fright, and it's okay. It's normal to be scared of stage. Like imagine at 4:50 p.m. today, just 10 minutes before the session, my electricity went off. Now I had an option: net connections or find alternate solutions. Use figured a better setup, and just I still knew I had to take the session, so I'm here taking the session. All right, all right. So there could be untoward situations. You'll have to remain calm in those situations. So stage fright, scare of the audience. I'll give you one very, very important hack, trick, or secret sauce. The audience wants you to succeed. Now, there are thousands of you on this call right now, spending the last 1 hour, 30 minutes, your 90 minutes of your time with me. Into 1,000 people, that's 90,000 minutes of Indian CAs are being contributing in this session. You all want me to succeed. You're not wasting your time. My success lies in your success, and your success lies in my success. So you will want me to succeed. You will cheer me up. You will smile at me when it's required because you do not want to waste your time. So as a speaker, remember always that your audience wants you to succeed. Second important trick, nobody knows your content. What if I skip the slide? What if I missed a visual cue? What if I missed a YouTube video? Like I was trying to put a Instagram video in front of you, but unfortunately it did not play. I skipped it. You did not know it. I was able to continue from where I left. The audience does not know your contents. If you miss a point, if you miss a line, if you miss a paragraph also, it's perfectly fine. The audience is not aware of your content. All right. So be confident. Do not be underconfident. You can forget. It's okay to use notes. All right. For instance, if you see over here, I'm having my notes. This is a visual cue to remember what I'm going to speak next. It's okay to have notes. You do not have to memorize everything. You have to make a point, make an impact. There, it is not a memory test. All right. So do not take it as a memory test. Be very careful about that. Do not have body language, do not look around, do not be distracted. Look at the audience, they want to learn from you. Look at them in the eye and speak to them with confidence that you know it, you are the man behind it, you want them to succeed. All right, so don't forget that. Lack of audience engagement. Unfortunately, since the webinar, I can't interact with you ongoing, but we'll of course open up for questions in a few minutes from now. Ask questions, through questions, like what I'm doing for engagement. After every slide, I'm pausing for 30, 60 seconds, recapping what we studied. So you are in sync with the connection of joining the dots backwards of what we studied. All right. Again, those hack secret sauces, the audience wants you to succeed. You all, thousand of you want me to do a fabulous presentation. You manage with my bad network, you manage with my electricity card because you want me to succeed. Thank you so much for that, but that's the whole purpose of this. Nobody knows my content. If I skipped a paragraph, I skipped a point, I skipped the slide, I skipped a video, people will not know. So do not overthink on that. Move on to the next part. If you remember it, come back to it very smartly. If you do not, move on. Do not have stage fright. Before this, I was preparing for it. I had goosebumps. But once I'm here, I am confident. All right. I'm not thinking, double thinking myself. The reason I have been chosen to do this presentation because I see I believes in me. All of you believe in me. So I should not have the stage fright. I cannot be underconfident. I have to be confident. I have to have that body language. So can you? It comes with practice. Remember what we saw earlier? Preparation, practice, presentation, and performance. If I'm underprepared, I will be scared. If I am prepared, I can sail through anything. Yeah, we have cracked the most difficult examination of chartered accountancy. We can crack this communication trick as well. So don't be scared about it. And now, if you ask me, how do I prepare for it, right? What do I do to be more confident? The most common trick people say is use speak in front of the mirror. I say don't do that. All right. I say do not speak in front of the mirror. If you want to be confident, speak in front of a camera, record yourself. Once you record yourself, you will be able to see if your stage movements are right, if your hand gestures are right, if your voice is right. In front of a mirror, you are not able to analyze yourself. You are very cautious of reflection. But if I record it, I can analyze it and I can check my connectivity in the future, check my skills in the better. Once you record it, 2 steps. Step 1, switch the audio off, just look at the video. Did you realize? Too many hand gestures, too much stage movement. That's a cue to reduce that. Be calculated in your hand gestures and body movements. Second, switch the video off. Only listen to the audio. Am I too fast? Am I too slow? Is my power pitch correct? All right. Once you do that, then look at your content. Is your content accurate? Can you remove unwanted parts? Then combine all three of it: your video, your audio, and your content, and then look at it, and then rehearse, record again, practice again, and come back on it. Right? Over prepare. Trust me, if you're doing it for the first time, please over prepare. Have more information, more content ready. That will help you better in terms of that. Again, like I said, different communications need different styles of preparation. Now, since I have access to my screen, I will show you different styles of communication for different audiences. Okay, now let's say I'm doing an interview over here. All right. Uh, is it audible? Can someone confirm? Okay. The video is not audible, right? All right. Let's quickly recap what we just learned the entire session, and then we'll open up the floor for questions. All right, let's go through all the slides again. Uh, your foundation, your preparation, your practice, your presentation and performance. Know your audience, the what, when, where, why, who, and how. Is it one-to-one? Is it one-to-few, one-to-many? That all will define your content and your body language, your voice modulation. Crafting your message, your content, your opening is very critical. Your body is the meat, closing is a call to action. Your purpose, generic like this, is to persuade all of you to be inspired about communication, that all of you can also be good communicators. Specific. I want you to give a speech next time, or I want to take a session next time. That's specific information. Do not use jargons, do not use block emphasis, do not try and be a Sashi Tharoor. Your eye contact, look into the camera, look at the audience, your hand gestures. Sometimes it's okay not to do over movements. Your stage movement is extremely important. Pause, pitch, power, and pace is extremely critical. Additional aids, your audio visuals, your presentations help you become better speakers. Handling questions, be calm and composed, be prepared, be over-prepared, listen before you respond. Clear and concise response. If you're not sure, say that, okay, I didn't think of it that way, maybe you're right. I'm not sure about it, but let's take this offline. Do not enter into a debate. Be calm, be in control of, and be in commanding position of the situation, of the conversation. Always lead the conversation. Do not follow. This all will help you in your interviews, in your client meetings, your pitches, your representation, your conferences, your brand building. Communication, listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. Remember the two hacks? Prep. Yes, you're right. Point, reason, example, point. Or PPF, past, present, and future. Do not, it's okay to have stage fright. It's okay to be underconfident till the time you go on stage. Remember, the audience does not know your content. Remember, the audience is cheering, rooting for you. They want you to succeed. Do not have poor body language. Do not have your audience engagement at all points in time. Do not look down. Do not have random movements. Do not have too many hours. Okay, think so. I will let you know. Avoid that. There are no secret techniques for each. It works differently. Prepare. Prepare. Not in front of the mirror, but in front of the camera, on Zoom, on your phone. Record yourself, listen to your audio, see your body movements, listen to your content? Will you want to listen to yourself? Will you learn something from the individual? Yes, then you're ready to go out on stage. Over prepare yourselves in terms of these techniques. And that's it. That's the end of my presentation. That's what we are here with today. I will now open the floor for a few minutes, maybe take 60 seconds to think about what you just saw today. And then I will request my tech team to help me with questions from the audience.
Okay, so we're ready to get questions. Ayaz, can you help me if the audience have any questions to ask? Do we have any questions? Sure. All right. So while Ayaz helps you with that, Ayaz, also make me the co-host if possible, please.
Am I audible? Am I visible to the back end? Now, if I asked any of you to come on the stage and give a speech right now, would you be a little nervous and have butterflies? Yes, no? Anyone? I'm a little nervous right now, to be very honest, and I need a little help from all of you. Every time I forget a line or take a long pause, can you at least smile and clap for me? Thank you, Jason, for sharing that beautiful journey from being a student to a professional and how Toastmasters help you in your journey so far. Now it's time for all of us to listen to the story of one more student. The story goes back to 2012. A newly qualified chartered accountant was working with a Big Four consulting firm. Now, on this particular occasion, he had to send out a particular opinion to a client. Unfortunately, his senior was not in office that day, so he had to work with that manager who was the most dreaded on the floor. Now, with a little bit of conviction, he walked up to her and told her that the opinion we are sending out is incorrect. And he tried to explain why. For some reason, she did not get the point. And in frustration, this hero of our story said, "Ugh." And the stare that she gave him for the next 10 seconds is something he's never going to forget. The next thing he did was to run to the washroom and hide there, thinking of how to send that resignation email to the organization. Almost 30 minutes later, with a little bit of courage, he walked back to his cubicle at the other end of the office and started drafting, not the resignation email, he started drafting the opinion and his perspective towards it. And he sent that email out to his manager. And just when he was smartly trying to sneak out of the office, the manager called him to her cabin and started smiling. He was a little confused on what happened. And she said that, "Your point of view is correct. Why did you not explain this to me in the morning?" And that's when he realized that he was smart, but that's not going to make him a partner at the organization. What's got him there will not open the next doors for him. And next, what he did was possibly any other employee will do: procrastinate. And the story is not over here. But before I come back to the story, there's one question for all of you. Typically in interviews, what's the first question that we ask to anyone? Tell me something about yourself. So a small clip of a 26-year-old telling us about himself.
I request all of you to do a small exercise with me. Take your left hand and place it right on the chest. Is your heart nodding? Start beating. Stop nodding, yeah. Your heart on the left side. While stepping on this podium, standing over there, my heartbeat almost stopped, only to recover the pounding heart right now. I wish I had a Fitbit to show to you all. When the last time your heartbeat was faster than usual? Examinations? A dozen missed calls from your parents, your boss, your girlfriend, or your crush.
So what you saw in the video was basically what I used: the hand movements, the gestures, starting with a story, narrating a story for the audience to build a hook with them, to make them understand what I'm trying to mention over there, and talk about myself in terms of how I was in the past, how my life changed by doing this. All right. I use cue cards for my confidence. I had very limited hand movements. I went about the fact that this is confidence building. I had a story to narrate. All right. So whatever you saw right now in the last 1.5 hours of the presentation is what was live implemented out there. All right. So that's my story. Underconfident, actually overconfident. If you saw the icebreaker, I spoke at a very fast pace. But you saw the actual presentation, the actual video, where I'm able to naturally pace, naturally move my body movement, and build the rapport with the audience by saying that if I forget something, just clap for me. Right? That's easing my nerves and making the audience laugh with me at the same time. All right, so now I think I can start seeing questions in my chat box over here. So we move to the most interesting part, is answering questions I'm not prepared for. These are impromptu questions that are not planted by anyone, which my team is sending them to me. And let me share these questions. Let me see what works for all of us and take it forward from there. All right. I hope this presentation so far made sense to you. You're able to make notes, be able to make points. If you're able to do that, please mention that also in the chat. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, on social media, and I'll be happy to answer more questions for you. My LinkedIn ID is hardik.shah89. It was there in the presentation. If it's not there, I will show it once again to all of you. Sorry, it's Hardik Shah 89. So linkedin.com/Hardik Shah 89. You can connect with me. I can answer queries for you out there. Right now, moving to the chat box for impromptu questions. I have not prepared for these. And let's see how do I handle them better. Right? So what are the prerequisites for speaking in YouTube channel, especially in case of taking teaching and tuition classes? That's a beautiful question. I have spent a huge part of my journey in education. In terms of speaking and teaching tuition, today, social media is where the Gen Z is present. It's free digital marketing for you. All right? As an individual, as a student, I'm able to quickly gauge your subject matter expertise, your teaching style, your techniques, your tricks, and your tips just by looking at your YouTube video. And if I'm fascinated in awe of you as an educator on YouTube, I want to learn from you. I strongly believe that if I'm able to do that, I will be in a better position to pass and qualify my examination. So as an educator, being on Instagram, sharing quick tips, your acronyms, your abbreviations to student is a quick hook to grab the student's attention. Gen Zs, who we call them today, have a very short attention span. In our times, I'm feeling a little old by saying that, but we wanted the faculties to give us long understanding and examples. But today's students want quick hooks. And if you cannot grab the attention of the audience in 30 seconds or 3 minutes, you will not be able to grab them for 30 minutes or 3 hours. And that's why making content on YouTube, on Instagram is going to keep you engaged with the students. And if that works out, those convert very strongly on social media to your classroom teaching. So that's why you should take lectures on YouTube regularly. As a listener, next question. As a listener, many a time you hesitate to put up the question, maybe thinking whether the question is right to be asked. What should be the correct way out? Beautiful. I think as an introvert, all right. So how many of you have traveled by flights or trains and you're scared to ask for water? All right, I'm that person. If you put me on a flight, on a train, I'm not comfortable, I'm thirsty, I will think 10 times, 10 different ways of not wanting to disturb someone to give me water. All right. Very normal. Most of us have been there as introverts. We are scared of asking questions. What if people laugh at us? What if it's very simple? What if people think I'm stupid? It's okay to feel that. It's also possible that what you're thinking, 5 more people are thinking the same thing and they're scared to ask. What if the speaker wants someone to ask this question? Like I wanted someone to ask this question and you just did that. So beautiful. In that, you need 5 seconds of courage. If you have done skydiving or bungee jumping, it's that jump, that 1 second of jump that you take over there, right? That 1 second of insane amount of confidence. Just do that. If you're able to do that, just put your hands up, articulate the question right, and ask it. If you're still scared, ask the question offline. If you have some thoughts in your mind, if you want to make a point, make it. It will make you sound smart, because remember, in a large audience, if you want to stand out, these are questions like these which will make you stand out, make you feel understood and respected by individuals around you. 5 seconds of insane courage, motivation. Ask that. Not done, ask it offline, but do it. Next question is very beautiful. My question relates to how does one handle a question on stage in case we do not know the answer? Is it okay to admit that no matter how much you prepare, your audience can be smarter than you? And it's okay to know that, but don't admit it. All right? Don't admit the audience is smarter. Admit that the audience is knowledgeable. They are as smart as you, as prepared as you, but not more than you. Never do that in public because you're putting yourself one step below the pedestal. You're at par. Maintain that rapport. If you do not know the answer, simple hack. Either if you agree with their statement, oh, maybe you're right. That's an interesting perspective. I think we should discuss this more about it. That's beautiful thoughts. Or you can say that, okay, I am not sure about this. Why don't we discuss this offline? That's a beautiful point you make. I have not referred to that case law. Can you send that across to me and we can discuss this in more detail? You can deflect and defer the conversation to off the stage if you're not very sure about it. It's okay to say that, okay, I'm not sure of this answer right now, but let me study on this and let me get back to you tomorrow. Confident, it's okay to admit not knowing an answer, but don't admit that you are not prepared. Two very different scenarios. All right. I hope that answers your question of how to handle that situation. Sometimes we are unable to recollect few things but relevant to the content, especially during interview. You never know what questions we might face, your suggestions on how to tackle. Oh, have you had arguments, debates with someone, and then you go back home or to your office, and then you're like, I missed making that one point and I could have won that debate. Happens. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. Make notes of it, prepare it. All right. Like for this presentation, I've made notes and gone. It's okay to prepare, have notes for reference materials. People are not judging your memory skills. They are judging your analytical skills of finding solutions to problems. We do not want you, let's say for Income Tax Act, you will not know every section, every para, every clause, every case law. But are you able to guide them in terms of how to find the answer to it? If you can help with that, perfect. Like if I ask you a very typical question, how many pigeons are there in Mumbai right now? I don't know. But what if I say there are 50 lakh pigeons, because I assume there are 50 gardens. Every garden can normally on an average hold 1,000 pigeons. So 5 lakh pigeons. It's a migration time. So a lot of pigeons have moved out of Bombay. But my estimate based on these scenarios that we have 5 lakh pigeons. Your thought process, your analytical skills are important in your interviews. They are not judging your memory power. This is not to test how much you remember, but how you handle situations, how you handle stress, how you handle unforeseen situations. All right. That's the solution in terms of handling in interviews. I hope that helps. But prepare. Look at yourself, use AI today. AI will help you prepare with random questions. Look around, think outside the box when you're thinking around it. All right, so that's questions. Do we have any more questions, Ayaz? All right, I think audience members, if you have any more questions, please leave them in the chat and my team will share them with me. If you do not have any questions, I'll give you 60 seconds to think about it, or else we can move towards wrapping up this session. We are almost at 7 o'clock. We should wrap up on time. Time management is one essential skill of communication. So have you been to meetings where you have seen the bosses go on and on and on and you want them to stop? Show them a red card. So my red card is the 7 o'clock time limit. But remember very importantly that you should understand the audience and know when to stop talking when you realize that audience is no longer interested in your perspective. All right. So we are reaching out there. I will give 1 more minute if the audience members have any questions. If you do not, we will quickly summarize the last 2 hours and then we will call this session a day on a beautiful Friday evening. Again, extremely sorry for all the tech hiccups, but thanks to the team over here at ICI for accommodating this and being very gracious with helping me conduct this session. All right, a queue of 10 seconds if you have any final questions. 10, 9, 8.
So we can take the questions.
All right, since we have no further questions, we'll call the session a day. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience over here. Thank you for being accommodative and enjoy. I hope you learned something from this session. Quick takeaway, remember to know your audience, then what, where, why, when, how. Content is very important, but keep it to the point. Time management. Words have power. Your non-verbal cues are important. Your eye contact, your hand gestures, your body movement. And then moving on to your visual aids, if you have any. Knowing you're not a know-it-all, handle your questions very graciously. If you do not know answers, defer it to a different situation. Remember, your audience wants you to succeed. Your audience does not know your content, so you can skip, forget, but be confident on stage. Practice, practice, practice. Be over-prepared for any sessions. Practice in front of a camera, record yourself, listen to yourself, watch yourself, listen to your content. Will you want to learn something from them? Do you have a takeaway? Will the audience be entertained? Will the audience be informed? Will the audience be persuaded? If that happens, the audience is interested, you have met your purpose. If not, you have wasted 1 hour, 2 hours of the individual. That's a quick recap. Thank you so much. Thank you, ICI and PSCAC, for conducting this beautiful session on communication, this webinar. I know it's been one way, but I hope you learned something. Please stay in touch with me on different social media handles or on WhatsApp or on LinkedIn. My ID is Hardik Shah89, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much. And with that, we call the session a wrap. Handing the stage back to our amazing organizing team at ICI. Back to you, Dipti ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, Hardik, for this wonderful, energetic session. What a compilation of various aspects of speech you have done, and we are really enjoyed this session. And it's definitely, this session is going to help chartered accountants in their to make their communication better, to deal with clients and with fellows in a better way, and speak smart, speak fearlessly. And you have very well justified the topic. And we would like to have you more on our ICI platform. So on behalf of Professional and Skill Enrichment Committee, and of ICI, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for the wonderful efforts you have done to enlighten our members. Thank you so much. And I request all the audience to please stay tuned, updated with all the upcoming programs under this committee. It's going to be very helpful in developing your skills, on your interpersonal skills. We are focusing only on those topics which can enhance chartered accountants' interpersonal skills, better presentation skills, and communication skills. So thank you once again for joining us. And thank you, Hardik, for this wonderful deliberation of the topic. See you. Take good care of yours. And here we sign off. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.